a.m. in Central African time. And here we are as we begin the journal. Thank you very much for streaming with us. We are available on channelafrica.co.za as well as satellite across the African region. So here we are almost 8 months into the year. It's August next month, literally counting down the days actually until it is August. So we're very far into the year 2026, and it's very easy for one to make the mistake of a full calendar and long to-do lists for progress, yet meaningful career growth is about far more than completing daily tasks. It's also about building new skills, being able to expand opportunities and move with intention towards your long-term goals. So I guess it's not too late, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, it's not too late, even though we're 8 months, almost 8 months in. But are you honest about your assessment as to where you are in your career life, in the goals that you're trying to set on a professional and personal level? We're going to be having a conversation, in fact, about this, and we'd like to involve you. So anything you'd like to share about your personal calendar, we'd love to hear from you as we stream audiovisually on Facebook. But we explore why a career check-in could be one of the most valuable investments for a professional at this time. On the line with me, Dr. Marchant van der Schyff, who's Dean of the Humanities Faculty at Rosebank International. Dr. van der Schyff, thank you for your time. Welcome to Channel Africa.
Hi, Mateko. Thank you so much for having me, and also a very good morning out of a very cold, they call it a wet sun, Cape Town. So welcome to all your listeners, and thank you for having me online.
Yeah, when it comes to Cape Town, Doctor, it would be so nice for the weather to be just as glorious as the city, but it often isn't the case. I hope you're keeping warm. Thank you for the time. Such an important conversation we're having at this time of the year, really looking at where we are. It is August next month, and I don't think it's too late. I think anything glorious can happen. We should always be prepared. But how should we do these check-ins? Should it be every 3 months, every quarterly, every 6 months into the year? How often should we be doing these professional check-ins?
That's a very good question, because I suppose it all depends on the environment and also your goals. Like you rightly said, we're 8 months into the year, and we blinked, and it was from December holiday season, and now we're here almost, towards the end of the year. So I think the three really important timelines in doing professional development is, firstly, setting your goals right from the beginning of the year. Now, New Year's resolutions, they don't work. I think that they're created to be broken. But setting up practical goals of what it is that you want to accomplish and what you want your year to look like, I think is quite valuable. And then we've got mid-year reviews. Often organizations set them in as a formal part of the reviewing process for people and culture, for human resources. And this is an opportunity for you and your line manager to sit down and reflect on those goals. It is a more formal exercise, but it really is an opportunity for you to listen and to absorb the feedback that you're receiving on where you are in terms of achieving your goals as set in the beginning of the year. And I think then we move towards the end year reviews. Now, that's also very important, often for employees and for employers. This is a metric that they use for promotional opportunities, advancement in career, increases, bonuses, those kind of things. So these are the three more, I would say, formal quantitative ways in which we can assess our year and how it's going. This being the mid-year point, I think that if we do these daily, weekly, personal reflections on, what are the artifacts that I'm producing? What is the evidence that I'm showing moving towards achieving my goal? I think that that's actually quite useful. There's something to be said about observations that you pen. So this is why I love to recommend to anybody to journal. It's
Mm.
not like the diaries that we
Mm-hmm.
keep when we were teenagers, um, but it's really to journal, even if it's in your daily planner or in your weekly planner, just to jot down some key ideas on, this is what I've done this week. This is moving me towards my goal. This is still where there's a caveat or where there's still a gap that I need to develop, so that you can look at what the remainder of your year looks like. And I think that that just gives you a very visual, um, reflective point on where you are.
Right. I mean, that's really great advice. I'm actually taking down notes as you speak. But in order of priority, I'm thinking people are at different stages in their lives. When I'm 25 and I'm still young and I've just started my professional career, it's a little bit easier, I think, to navigate a calendar of that nature and be able to, have everything sort of neat and tidy because it's just me at that point in time. But once you're an elder over the age of 30, a couple of kids and possibly a wife and a husband to juggle personal lives, etc., and other commitments that require you to have quite a stretched capacity to be able to make sure that your career and your personal life are both equally taken care of. I mean, how do we navigate that? Because there's that aspect of balancing the personal and the career. Is it in order of priority? How should I be looking at things?
I think that that's a very good point and fair. And dependent on your personality, if you're in your 20s, you might be an A type personality. If you're in your 40s, you might still be questioning whether I'm in the correct career. Maybe there's something different that I want to do. The most interesting people that I meet in their 30s and 40s and 50s even still don't know what it is they want to do. But you're quite right about how we live external from ourselves. Our priorities often become not ourselves. We prioritize our partners, we prioritize our children, we prioritize work obligations. And I'm always reminded of, those in-flight instructions of put your face mask on or your oxygen mask on in an emergency before you attend to, the person sitting next to you or to your child. And I think that that is a valuable philosophy to adopt in terms of ring fencing that time that you need to replenish and reflect and grow as an individual, so that you can attend to and prioritize the people external, or the obligations external from yourself. So one of the things in which you can do that is in our normal morning routine. I mean, you don't leave the house without brushing your teeth, well, hopefully, washing your face and getting dressed.
Mm.
I mean, I ran out this morning in my slippers, so it does happen every once in a while. But we do have these morning routines, and one of the things that you can do is to build in those 5 minute meditative practices or reflective practices
Mm-hmm.
where you either jot down what your day needs to look like. It sounds very abstract, but if you have a one word intention for your day, today is all about energy. Today is all about grace. Today is all about, um, uh, you know, building connections. What is the theme of your day? And then you just jot down those key things that you need to attend to, and you prioritize your priorities. It becomes part of your morning practice, and the same in the evening. So if you're a morning person, do that in the morning. But if you know that you are a high achiever more in the afternoons and at night, then build that into your evening practice, so that it just becomes part of a way that you look after yourself so that you can look after someone else. What was that movie? It's um, with the Venus sisters, their dad. Now I can't remember the movie's name,
Yeah.
but he said, if you fail to plan your day, your day will fail.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always that idea of every day should have a particular purpose, and you set the agenda for what that purpose is. And the way in which you do that is to take a little bit of time for yourself, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then just to prioritize what that's going to look like.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, that's it. It really is so doable. As we listen to Dr. van der Schyff give us some tips on how to navigate this last couple of months of the year. Are you where you are, or are you where you want to be in your career at this time? We'd love to hear from you. And in fact, we're going to take a break. But when we come back, I really want us to unpack some complexities around how people are coping, especially at high level. I mean, we're seeing very disturbing reports that are showing that nearly 60% of public school principals are ready to quit. So that just as one example of the pressures of being in leadership positions and what it actually takes to sustain them. We take a break and return.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126. I can see my whole world changing. And contribute to the conversation. Be inspired. Stay informed. Channel Africa, the beauty of life. Now available anytime, anywhere with our new app.
Vue d'Afrique avec Joël Mouteba.
Oui, la plupart des personnes qui dérangent, la plupart des personnes qui critiquent ne sont pas aujourd'hui à l'intérieur du pays, elles sont à l'extérieur du pays. Donc c'est à partir de l'extérieur du pays qu'ils sont en train d'enflammer la situation au niveau du pays, qu'ils sont en train d'attiser le feu au niveau du pays. Donc pour pouvoir mettre la main sur ce genre de personnes, il faut que les gens qui sont avec eux là-bas à l'extérieur puissent agir pour le compte du gouvernement. Ce que les autorités redoutent, c'est comme une situation qu'on a vécue par le passé. Au temps où même c'était un régime démocratique, il y avait des Nigériens, parce qu'ils sont à l'extérieur du pays, ils pensent qu'ils peuvent échapper à la justice et ils faisaient des publications et faisaient des audios de tendance à perturber l'ordre public.
Vue d'Afrique, du lundi au vendredi de 15h à 16h, temps universel.
Ways of working on the channel.
23 minutes into 9 a.m. in Central African Time. We continue conversations with Dr. van der Schyff, Dean of the Humanities Faculty at Rosebank International. And we are really doing a 7-month check-in, okay, to see where you are, what it is that you're prioritizing at this time when it comes to your career, anything that needs to be re-looked at. And we move from there. Hopefully, a couple of those goals that you've set at the beginning of the year can definitely manifest towards this timeline of the year, as it were. But we're seeing something quite disturbing, as I'd mentioned before we close the first segment, Doctor. A national report by the governing body foundation showing that uncoordinated compliance demands and constant last-minute deadlines are driving unprecedented retention crisis among veteran school leaders. So that is one example of, what is happening at a leadership level, and all the balls that have to be juggled all at once, and being responsible not only for your own position, but that of others as well, and how that can take its toll on an individual. I mean, what is actually happening there? Are we supposed to be re-looking at new ways to lead, or what is happening? I mean, give us an understanding.
Please put on the phone.
I don't know if you were able to catch my question, Doc.
Channel Africa is evolving, and so are you.